morning, everybody. Welcome back to Mythgard in Middle-earth. My name is Corey Olson, the Tolkien Professor, joined as always by my friend Gryfflet, who's just, hanging out under the white tree, like you do. Since, or at least, like Hobbit burglars who have completed all of their Minas Tirith deeds do. Well, almost all of them. Except for the one that we don't mention, which he's going to be going after soon. So, Gryfflet has made a decision. He was chatting with Gandalf, who said that the epic quest line really isn't that urgent, so we're going to do the side quests first, because that's how it works. It will be weird to see Gryfflet actually do epic quests again, but that, but it might not be this day. And the reason I'm thinking this is that I've only done this epic quest line once before, but as I recall, it's there's a good bit of story momentum to the epic quest line at this point. So I kind of want to fit. I don't want to interrupt that by meanwhile, let me throw a chicken off the citadel, So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to talk to Ormatar over here, who is the only side quest giver up here in the entire place. And then I'm going to, so I'll do his line here, and then I will head outside and do all of those other ones I've been waiting for. So I'll do all the ones out on the Pelennor. And then after I do the ones on the Pelennor, I'll come back up to Gandalf, but I'll bring a chicken. Right, and I'll throw the chicken off, and then when I've finished all those things, then I will talk to Gandalf, and so basically then I'll just do the epic quest straight through. I think that's so that I can just then focus on that story and how they develop that story. So that is Gryfflet's plan upon reflection. Okay, Ormatar. Gryfflet, I must confess, there is a shortage of staffing in all the buildings of the Citadel. Only the guard posts are fully stationed on the eve of war. Still, we have nobles staying at the southern Great Guesthouse and feasting at the Feast Hall, Merethrond. I need some of my guards to leave their post and take on additional duties there. Would you mind delivering these orders in my stead? Okay. Speak with Iorlas. See, he's sending me out of the city anyway. It was meant to be. Speak with Iorlas and send him to the Southern Great Guesthouse. Oh, no, Iorlas. I remember him, right. Also, speak with Beregond and send him to Merethrond to tidy up the tables. Okay. Okay, all right. I remember Iorlas. He's the one at the bottom of the ramp. Beregond is at the top of the ramp, and he's at the bottom of the ramp. Sorry, I was displacing. I was remembering one of the people outside. Hey, Beregond. Hey, Beregond. An honor to talk to you.
Not much light, is there?
I know who you are. My son Burgle has told me about you. I've heard countless stories of your heroics throughout the city. You tell Beregond that you appreciate his words and explain that you are here to give orders from Ormatar. All in a day's work, I suppose. Is it true that you are a friend of Peregrine Took? He is a friend of mine as well. You must come with me to Merethrond. You should see the Grand Feast Hall of Minas Tirith, as it is truly a sight to behold. Also, I'd very much like to hear all about your adventures with Peregrine Took. Meet me in Merethrond when you are ready. Okay. Yeah, well, let's just do that. Let's see. As I recall, it was around here to the right somewhere, wasn't it? Yeah, it was. Could one of these guys clear off the tables? There he is. Please let me hear a story, and then we shall get started with the task. You recount a story about your time with Pippin in Rivendell. Can I tell the story about, I'm sure Beregond would love the story of Pippin walking off to and using the Scepter of Illuminus as a walking stick. Come on, Beregond would love that story. What a fantastic tale. I wish Peregrine were here right now. I bet he'd have some bits to add. I do enjoy the way he tells stories. Well, enough from me. Shall we complete this task? Yeah, what do we do? Oh. Oh, I see. You're going to Tom Sawyer me into doing it for you. Should have known. Should have known. That's okay. Gryfflet never objects to doing menial chores. These tables all look fairly clear. Am I setting tables? I'm confused. I wasn't really mentally prepared actually to like wait on tables here. Okay. Is there like a stack of empty plates I'm supposed to pick up? I'm confused. Oh, in the kitchen. In the kitchen. Right, okay. Right. So that'll be down here somewhere. Aha. Oh, at these little side tables, because they're not eating in the big feast hall upstairs. Gotcha. Okay. 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 Gryfflet becomes the Gondorian busboy. Okay. Yeah, I figured they'd be over here. Alright. Now, what am I supposed to do with the empty plates when I collect them, I wonder? Bring them to the kitchen staff. They're going to be downstairs, probably. Kitchen in the basement. Uh-huh. Man, now that is a fireplace. Good land. You could fit some houses inside that fireplace. Wow. Does the chimney draw well? Oh, when there's more than one. Wow. You know, I would think that a larger number of slightly smaller fireplaces might be even more efficient, but... Alright.
Dark skies, dark tidings.
Thank you kindly for the plates. As you can see, there are not many of us down here. She's like, Hobbit has just delivered the plates. It's like, you know, like it's nothing. We appreciate any help. If you have a moment, we were discussing the best way to defeat those Easterlings we keep hearing about. You look like a skilled warrior. Perhaps you'd be able to show us a move or two. Really? We would love to learn how to take them on if they ever get into the kitchen. Okay, sure. Yeah, self-defense training for the kitchen staff? Sure. Oh, alright. So, you know, you do one of these and one of these, and then maybe one of these. Something like this. Yeah. There you go. It's nice for them to give me little shadow warriors to do this with. Okay. You're welcome. Can I with good conscience tell Beregond's captain that he did the job? He did stand in the building while I did the work. You make it even a simple chore an adventure. No wonder you are also friends with Beregond. That was nice of you to teach the kitchen staff some basic fighting skills. It brought some joy to their tired faces. It saddens me to think that tomorrow they may have to put that knowledge to practical use on the battlefield. And he's gone. Alright. No problem. Well, I think he was very useful. But hey. You know, it's fine. Okay, now the South Guest House South Great Guesthouse is the one that's over there, right? Yes. Oh, look at Gryfflet remembering his citadel geography. Oh, wait, hang on. Who am I supposed to talk to? Oh, yeah, Iorlas. I can't just go straight to it. I've got to get a Iorlas first. Because if he's not there to, like, stand around while I do all the work, he won't get credit. So, I better go get him. As I recall, he's just down here, right? Pretty sure. Yeah, I think I'm right. Okay, Iorlas. Hey there.
Mordor will regret challenging the walls of Minas Tirith.
You are correct. I am Iorlas. What brings you to the gate of the Citadel? You explain Ormatar's orders, and Iorlas looks increasingly displeased. While I appreciate your visit, I can't say I appreciate these orders from Ormatar. This is a disgrace, but I must accept my orders from him. Any orders from him. Still, a guard at the Citadel is not usually on cleaning duty. What did I do to deserve this? Hey man, take it in good spirit, like your friendly neighborhood burglar. You explain that the Citadel staff is short-handed, and Ormatar needs guards to help out. I see. Well, perhaps you wouldn't mind coming with me then, and doing all the work. The work will go quicker if you do it instead of me. Let us meet at the baths in the southern Great Guesthouse when you are ready. Agreed. It will go faster if I do it instead of you. It's called supervising, JJ? Yeah, it's true. Beregond was a great supervisor. Alright, let's see what needs doing at the Southern Great Guesthouse. And then if... Alright. Then if Ormatar has anything further for me, and if not, we are headed out to the Pelennor. Oh. Is that green tiling? So the green the green border here is tiling under the rug, isn't it? They have this elaborate gorgeous marble green tiling strip, and they put a rug on it? Like a really plain brown rug? See, the rugs on the sides are like at least covering the... I mean, even this is very nice. But that's just weird. Why would you put rugs... I mean, I know, sure, like, the floor is cold, but, like, what, are you going to be barefoot over here? People take their shoes off before they come through the door? Hey, where's my supervisor? I can't do any work. Oh, I'm supposed to meet him at the baths. Right. Okay. So we come in. Here's a little refectory. Okay. And then the baths, I suppose, are probably not upstairs. What's this? Okay. Oh, right. Little lounge area. Sure. Some soldiers from Sûhalar perusing the library. Okay. Great. Okay, so I got a little hallway with tapestries and more unnecessary rugs. What's over here? Oh. Flowers. Little private parlor. Oh. With food going bad over here. Somebody's hopefully just about to eat that. Oh, little bedroom. So this is how they go on here. I see. This whole suite is so somebody like Forlong or somebody stays here. He's got his nice little bed there, and then a separate dining chamber with his whole suite. Okay, I got you. I got you. Is this another private room? No? Can't open it? Won't let me in? Okay, fine. No problem. Don't want to intrude on anyone's privacy. In fact, this is literally Forlong's room. I'm assuming, given that it's guarded by guards from Sarnach, and you're not going to let me in either. That's fine. Don't really expect it. Aha! The baths. Oh, these are really nice. Got our smoldering embers over here with some warm sudsy water. Is this like the cold bath over here and this is the warm bath over here? Right? Is that how it works? We got a hot and a cold? Like a Roman bath? What do you think, Iorlas? What's up?
Is this your first time in Minas Tirith?
Welcome.
Shame you couldn't see it in better days.
Welcome to the baths of the Southern Great Guesthouse. It is a rather lovely area when you do not have work to do. Well, like you, I bet you my brother gets all the easy jobs from Ormatar. He is probably sitting at the splintered shield, drinking a pint with his halfling friend. Oh, right. That's why I remember your name, of course. You're Burgle's Uncle Iorlas, who is old. Well, no, he's not old, but that's why whose age he compares with Pippin's, which is why he comes up. You're older than my Uncle Iorlas. Naturally. He is probably right. I'm not even supposed to be in the Citadel today. It was only Ormatar's chore that brought me here. Well, I suppose we should get to it then. What are we getting to? Collecting dirty cloths. Yes, let's get to it, Iorlas. Fun to meet all of Bergil's friends and relations. Have you seen Beregond lately? I certainly have not. Yeah, I've seen Beregond. Just hanging out with Beregond. He's working hard, watching me work, just like you. You want to talk about not just? I wasn't even given this job. I was just a messenger boy. And now I'm collecting dirty cloths. Okay. Oh, I get to wash them in the sudsy water. Almost done, huh? There you go. Yep, your work is indeed almost done. You think your brother is spending too much time with his hobbit friend? Dude, what, he has like 2 meals with him? Okay. Oh, I gotta rinse them in the water bucket. Hang on. We can't just leave them all sudsy now, can we? Does his son feel neglected as I do from my brother's lack of interest in family today? Nah. Burgle's good. He's fine.
We can only hope that the Rohirrim
We finished. Yeah.
before it's too late.
Really broke a sweat there. I shall complain about my day to my brother the next time I see him. I apologize for taking my frustration out on you. These are difficult times, and I feel like I'm often ignored by both family and superiors. Okay. Well, Iorlas, we all have issues. Alright. Speaking with Ormatar. I like those tapestries. The ivy and the 3 hills. Is that somebody's banner? I'm not remembering it. It probably is, but I don't remember whose. Okay, oh, excuse me, pardon me. Okay. This place is lovely. Okay, Ormatar. Thank you for your help. I just received word that there is some sort of disturbance on the prow. Perhaps a scuffle. Well, at least nobody is, like, throwing a chicken off it or something. Because, like, that would be disgraceful. Oh, Iorlas and Beregond are arguing? Oh, dear. Guys. Iorlas, what's wrong with you? I do not understand your jovial attitude, brother. How can you be happy in time of war? Is it that Hobbit friend? You spend so much time with that halfling, it's like your own brother does not even exist. Beregond, your son, needs your guidance on the eve of battle. You may not see him tomorrow. Beregond looks calm yet untroubled. A moment passes before he speaks. It is true, my brother. Spending time with Peregrine has indeed allowed me not to dwell on the bloodshed to come. Before I met the halfling, I was worried for you, for Beregond, and for Gondor. This worrying only left my spirits in decay. With my spirits fading, I pushed those I cared about away. I am ashamed to have been so distant, Iorlas. Beregond, I did not realize the weight you have been carrying. You know that you can always share that burden with your brother. I would treat Beregond as a son if the worst came to pass. Do not worry for your son. Be with him instead. On the battlefield, I shall protect the both of you until the bitter end. I do not want to stop your friendship with the halfling. He brings you joy and hope. That is something we all need. Thank you, Iorlas. It is good to hear these words coming from you. I will spend more time with my family. Hopefully, Peregrine will be able to join us. I am sure we will all enjoy the Hobbit's company. Now, Gryfflet, there is something I must ask of you. I believe you came here to investigate our argument, most likely on Ormatar's orders. If you would be kindly to us, keep our quarrel a secret whilst we return to our posts. We would rather not get in trouble for this little family dispute. Okay. Cover for the brothers. All right. So, for the record, I always had a different interpretation of Beregond's uncle, Iorlas. So, if he's Beregond's uncle, obviously, he is... this is one very possible interpretation, that he's Beregond's brother, and that he is also, you know, therefore a member of the Guard, very likely. I always thought I always imagined that Iorlas was Beregond's mom's brother. Like, it seems clear that Beregond's mom's people come from, you know, Lasarnach. You know, he talks about going down there. Beregond does. And I always had the impression that Iorlas was from that side of the family, that he was, like, imagining his country uncle, basically, when he was making the comparison to his country uncle. But I don't think there's any assertion in the text one way or the other. He just says he's his uncle. You explained to Ormatar that the noise was just some nobles who were staying at the Southern Great Guesthouse. So I'm going to actually lie. Okay. They were having a heated discussion, but you calmed them down. Good, I'm glad it was not any of my men. Those nobles spend so much time bickering and not enough time getting actual work done. Well, enough talk from me. I'll let you get back to more important matters. You're quite efficient. Perhaps you would be willing to join the Citadel Guard so one day. Well, I mean, with opportunities like this, you know, to, like, do laundry and bus tables, I mean, do you actually, like, put that on your recruiting posters? All right. So, here is what Gryfflet is going to do. It is time to go activate my quests. All right, where are we? We are in Old Anorian, Minas Tirith. We want all of these quests back now. Okay, carry the chicken. The word horde, right? Charred wood, trampled wheat, death rattle of an enemy soldiers, gleam in the eyes of a captain right before you stab him in the face. Right. Metal scraps on the Pelennor for the forge. Okay. Oh, I'm collecting herbs, right? For the healers. Sure. And obtaining the beards of the Sûhalar, of course. How could anyone forget that quest? All right. So, I am... Wait a second. The Wager in the Wind one? Oh, the chicken. Yeah, that's the chicken one. Okay, right. Gotcha. Okay, so these are mostly up. All right, well. Anyway, it's an easy way to get down there. We'll just milestone down to the gates. So, Hologram, I'm totally finding that last farm while I'm out. I've already decided that the particular trampled wheat that I'm looking for is going to be in the last farm of Holdenorian. For crying out loud. Alright. No, wait, hang on. I'm going outside. I'm going to want my war steed so I can put on my invisibility hat. Okay. Once I get out, I can consult the map again. There we go. Oh my goodness. What are we looking at here? The warlike word horde. Word like war horde. Okay. Well, if I could avoid going all the way back into Osgiliath, I'd sure like to. For the coming storm? What's that? Oh. I probably won't. There are probably herbs over there. Okay. You know. Dedicated to the cause. Gryfflet is dedicated to the cause. So, let's see what we can do. Alright, hang on a second. I'll check the deed log here. Gondor. Which one is it? Holdenorian. I'm missing Enaid. Enaid is the one I'm missing. Doesn't even have a nice directional prompt like Forod to give me a hint as to where it is. Okay. Enaid is the one I'm missing. Meanwhile, so... Wait, what was I meant to find right there? What is going on here? What am I looking for? Pieces of charred wood? What is that going to be? The death rattle of an enemy soldier through here? Excuse me, can I get a death rattle from you, sir? Oh, I see. That's how you're going to play, huh? The foe gasps as he falls. Yes, that is in fact what is going on here. Death rattles. That's what I can collect here. Okay. Alright. Well, that's easy enough. That's easy enough. Okay. Here, let me get a lore question queued up while I'm just stalking goblins in the bushes here. Okay. Let's see. So there were a couple of questions. This was a while back now. Drowsnake and JJ, you were asking about this ages ago, and I didn't get to it. So let me try to get to it. Drowsnake was asking, is the water-based mirror of Galadriel connected or powered by Nenya, the Ring of Water? Or is it some other power that allows Galadriel's mirror to show visions? This is a great question. So first of all, let me just begin by saying that I think there's very little evidence, like very little concrete evidence about the connection between the elements and the rings. And that was JJ's general question. What's the significance of the elements of the rings? Do they influence the powers and differences between the rings? Do the 7 and 9 have similar distinctions beyond just having different stones? So later on, after completing, like during the course of the Lord of the Rings, he never explains any of this. In fact, there are very few places where the whole concept even of sorry, here in the bushes trying to find his back, and he spots me. There are very few places where even that association is made. They're just, most of the time they're referred to, they're just called the three. And there are only a couple places where they are referred to by their elements. And so therefore we have very little to go on in trying to explain or understand what that means exactly. Like in what sense, Nenya is connected to water, and Narya to fire and all that. So is it a captain, do you think I'm looking for here? A gleam in the eye of a captain? It's Pelinide! Look at that! I accidentally completed Arnorian Farms! Oh, man. How delightful. Oh, look at that. I completed all the deeds. Every last deed. Oh, my goodness. Well, there we go. That is so satisfying. Captains of Minas Tirith, explorer of Old Anorian. Look at that. Completely done. Except for Forlong. When I finish Forlong, then I will have... Okay, complete Quests of Old Anorian deed, which I won't. Because I'm not going to do the Roaming Enemies deed. And I won't do the Slayers, yeah. Well, so that's not going to happen. But that's okay. So, Tales of Minas Tirith, and I am done with deeds. Pretty much in Gondor. I mean, I know there's, like, stuff later and everything, but... What's my title? What do I get? Farmhand? Oh, yeah. Finder of farms? You better believe it. Okay. Whew. All right. Okay. Sorry, all distracted. I'm all flustered at my success. I think I'm looking for a captain. What? Is this him? Right here? Haradrim Warmaster? Does he count? Yeah, he does. Okay. His eyes were wild and fell as he fought and fell. Ooh, look, there's charred wood also. Anyway, so I was saying about the paucity of evidence concerning the elements. Help, I'm stuck in the tent. So as I say, they're not introduced that way from the very beginning, basically. They are... it is not part of the... And again, I'm only talking here about our... about how we're introduced to them in the text. It's not part of the original concept of them. Like, we're not presented to us with those associations with the elements. In fact, could JJ or somebody else with the electronic text handy look it up for me? Oh, shh, there's a Mumok. He's sneaking up on us. I do that. The guy came out of nowhere. I just spotted him. He was in stealth mode. As the Mumok killer so prone to do. Sorry, JJ, if you could look up. My memory is telling me, which is often wrong, that that the first time we get an association between the elements and the first time we get an association between the elements and the rings is with Galadriel. Is Nenya called the Ring of Water there? And do we get any... do we get anything similar? Elsewhere. Before that, I don't think we do. When they're introduced in the... when they're introduced in the Council of Elrond, I'm pretty sure that we're not told about the elements. She says, right, this is Nenya, Ring of Adamant. So she's just saying what it is. She doesn't associate it with water. Is it in fact not until they're getting on the boat at the end that we are told? We got something more here. Oh, there's more charred wood. Okay. Excellent. Hey, I finished the word horde stuff. All in the final farm. Yeah, I think... sure, JJ, the Ring of Fire... But that's in... that's not even... That's the quotation from Círdan to Gandalf. But that's not even in the text, in the main text. See, that's interesting, Phil. As he turned and came towards them, Frodo saw that Gandalf now wore openly upon his hand the third ring, Narya the Great, and the stone upon it was red as fire. Yes. But that doesn't prove it. Yep. Interesting. JJ points out that the even in the index, Narya is called the third ring, comma, the ring of fire. And then, but that reference to the third ring, comma, the ring of fire is, what's that a reference to? The second reference is to the appendix, isn't it? whereas Nenya is only called the Ring of Adamant in the Index. Yeah. Now the Index, you got to be careful with the Index, as I've had reason to recently learn. Marielle, this is exactly what I am trying to sort out. I will be more explicit. My theory, suspicion, concept here is that I am suspecting that the association of the three rings with the three elements was a later idea of Tolkien's, which he retconned back into the text. And that's what I'm trying to figure out. And then my question would be, which one was the first? Is it the Ring of Fire? Is it the association between Narya and fire, which then inspires? Because I agree, Galadriel calls it the Ring of Adamant, which is an interesting turn of phrase in any case. Okay, let's get some scrap metal. Because it's made of mithril. Nenya is. Right. Good. So the description of them at the end there, that is at the Grey Havens. Vilya is just called a ring of gold with a great blue stone. Vilya, mightiest of the three. And then Galadriel is described as, on her finger was Nenya, a ring wrought of mithril that bore a single white stone flickering like a frosty star. Yes, I thought it was in the appendices, the actual explicit connection. Again, in the description that JJ already quoted, when he sees Gandalf coming and he's got the ring, which has, yes, and the stone upon it was red as fire. That's a simile, right? Great blue stone, Vilya, mightiest of the three. Narya with a gem, a single white stone like a frosty star, and then with the red gem that was red as fire. Yeah. So in other words, within the body of the Lord of the Rings text, there is no evidence. There is no evidence that Tolkien associates the three rings with the elements at all. It's only after the fact, right? In Unfinished Tales, Celebrimbor followed her counsel that the Ring of Air and the Ring of Fire should be sent out of Eregion. Absolutely. So, those are Unfinished Tales, which means, obviously, after the fact, and in particular, which is, shambling troll dances. What am I looking for? Scrap metal? 10 of it. Do I have to kill folks? Are they carrying it? No. Oh, yeah, no, there it is. Just lying about. I may have to kill folks because it's standing right near them, but maybe not. Oh, yeah. That was pretty gregarious, Gryfflet. Yeah. Okay, so, so the earliest reference in the text is probably, therefore, that appendix reference. Now, a lot of the Unfinished Tales material was written in a similar... So the appendix stuff was written later. So he finished the actual composition of The Lord of the Rings in I think it's 49, if I'm remembering correctly. The Fellowship of the Ring is actually published, it's actually released in 54. But there was a significant delay while he was still going back and forth with publishers and trying to get the Silmarillion published. But then the appendix was written. The appendices were written later. Is it another piece of scrap metal, or is that just it's not just the one I picked up, is it? There's another one here. Oops, I just got out of stealth when I was trying to put myself into stealth. Strong work there, Gryfflet. Okay. So the appendix stuff. So the writing of the appendices, the inclusion of the appendices in the Lord of the Rings, is the thing that led to the delay of the publication of the Return of the King. So again, he'd written the whole story, but he wanted to include the appendices with the Return of the King, and he was writing a bunch of stuff and like shoehorning a bunch of stuff into the appendices that he wanted to include. And a lot of that stuff he was writing at that time. So when you're looking, wrong key. When you're talking about the appendix, you're talking about the appendix material. You're talking about stuff that he wrote like 5 years after he had finished writing, and in fact, after the publication of the Fellowship of the Ring and the Two Towers. So there's, and that's that time period. In like the mid-50s. And by the way, for those of you who have been doing my discussion, my War of the Jewels discussion, that's the time period, like after he finished writing the Lord of the Rings, and before the publication happened, right? Before the I don't know, let's have a go. Nope. After the publication happened. Uh-oh, lagging on the battlefield. Never great. Come on now. Uh-oh. Yikes. Okay. Okay, fine. Okay, so anyway, you're following me there? Oh, I was just saying in my War of the Jewels class. So those of you who are reading the War of the Jewels with me and discussing that on Wednesday nights, all of that stuff. Yeah, sorry, I know the stream froze. Something weird happened there. Some kind of little internet interruption, I think, here, probably. But I'm back. You guys are hearing me now? Okay. Great. Oh, JJ, I had forgotten that. Okay, so you're hearing me now. Well, let me finish what I was saying first, and then I'll come back, JJ, to your comment there. So, all of the early Silmarillion stuff, when he's writing the like, what does Tolkien do with his time when he finishes the Lord of the Rings? As soon as he finishes the Lord of the Rings, he goes to the Silmarillion material and he starts writing novel-length treatments of it. He likes this whole longer story thing that he's got going on with the Lord of the Rings now, right? He really enjoys that, and he wants to keep doing that. He wants to do more of the Silmarillion stuff in that mode. So he goes back to the Turin story and significantly expands the Turin story. That's where we get the Narn material, which Christopher incorporates into the Children of Hurin, right? He starts, and very tragically does not finish, the new Tuor story, right? The new Fall of Gondolin story. Same time, right there in that window, that window of a few years, between the completion of the Lord of the Rings and the publication of the Lord of the Rings. But after the publication, he's doing a lot of extra. So, like, when it comes appendix time, he's doing a lot of work there he's doing a lot of work there with the appendix, filling out details and fleshing out stories and background and history and doing more world building, basically, for the Lord of the Rings itself. And he's stuffing as much of it as he can in the appendix. We know that there are a bunch of things that he wrote for the appendices that were just like too long. You know, basically he got totally carried away, and the publisher's like, dude, this is like a whole separate book. Like, you don't need all this stuff. Like, for instance, the entire Quest of Erebor story, which is included in Unfinished Tales, was originally like part of Appendix A, basically. So, okay, we're doing well here now. What's the blue? Near and dear? Sûhalar beards. Okay, fine. We'll get Sûhalar beards for Forlong. Next. Yeah, so he got so carried away, he ended up keeping only like a few paragraphs of that and cutting the rest of it, and that's why Christopher gave it to us in Unfinished Tales. So it sounds to me like, based on what we're seeing in the evidence, so when there's something like that, like the the mounted Sûhalar? Well, you can forget that for long. I'm not wasting my time with mounted combat around here. Especially because I'm going to end up aggroing everyone else. Yeah. No way, man. I'm going to go up where I can find Sûhalar on foot, if that will work. But this is really interesting, JJ. Okay, but now we come to JJ's further evidence. As JJ was looking at the draft texts. Okay. In The Return of the Shadow and the Treason of Isengard. Okay. That is fascinating. Okay. I had forgotten this entirely. Or rather, I'd never really sat down and kind of worked this all out. So let's see. In the chapter titled Ancient History, in the Shadow of the Past, this is the first version of the Shadows of the Past chapter. So it wasn't part of the story originally. It went straight from the long-expected party to Frodo, who is actually called Bingo, leaving the Shire. But then he went back and wrote chapter 2 that he put in. Okay, so in the precursor to the Shadow of the Past. All right. It is of essential importance, as Christopher talking about the thing, is of essential importance in the evolution of the Lord of the Rings, for it was here that there emerged in the actual narrative the concept of the ruling ring, and Sam Gamgee as the companion of Bingo on his great journey. There is no trace of earlier drafting, save for a few notes. Okay, great. And in that chapter, what has become of the 3 rings of earth, air, and sky, I do not know. Some say they have been carried far over the sea. Others say that hidden elf kings still keep them. Yes. Yeah, no, I think that's exactly it, Marielle. I think that's precisely what we get. So it turns out, based on the textual evidence here, that the association of the 3 elvish rings with the elements is actually the original concept, but a concept which he does not include. Now, it's hard to conclude definitively from absence that he had like ditched the idea, right? But it never makes it in. Although he was calling them earth, air, and fire, and of course he changes earth to water. It's the problem with only having 3 rings is that you got to leave out one element or other. And originally he left out water, and then and included earth, and then instead he flipped it and included water and took out earth. And it was the ring of earth that he gave to Galadriel. Okay. So yeah. All right. That means if he doesn't refer to them that way in the text, right? Earth, air, and sky, he said originally, right? Is there a difference between earth and sky? Earth, air, and sky? Both air and also sky? That's really interesting. Yeah, I assume when he says earth, air, and sky, by sky he means stars, I would think. I mean, if he said like, earth, fire, and sky, I would have assumed that sky just meant air as the element. But it does sound... Okay, so in the first draft he says earth, air, and sky. In the second draft he says earth, sea, and sky. Okay, so that suggests to me, JJ. All right. Earth, air, and sky. Okay, I think I get that. So that suggests... So, of course... one assumption here is that you understand that the 4 traditional elements, right, are earth, air, fire, and water. Earth, air, and sky suggests that he is not thinking of the elements originally. Instead, I think he's thinking of the Valar. Earth, air, and sky sounds like Aule, Manwe, Varda, is what that sounds like to me. Varda with the stars, Manwe with the air, Aule with the earth. So it sounds to me like he's not thinking in elemental terms. Anyway, is there another wander beard up here? Yes, there is. Yeah, so I think originally he wasn't thinking in terms of the elements, but then he made the shift. So the shift from earth, air, and sky to earth, sea, and sky. You might say, like, well, maybe he's just including Omo now. And what? Taking out Manwe? But no, that begins to map more clearly onto the elements. Now we have, air, water, and earth, right? Yeah. Right, the 3 realms of Indo-European mythologies, earth, sea, and sky. Right. Yeah, sure. No, I mean, he's still thinking in mythic terms, but I think that that's important. I think it's important to be sort of realizing that and not just thinking. Basically, that it seems that he was not thinking in like more alchemical terms, from the beginning. Right, earth, sea, and sky seem to remain for some time. So, JJ, is he then thinking about earth, sea, and sky? So he's thinking about, like, again, in these sort of mythic rather than, I said alchemical. Might not be totally fair. But instead of thinking in terms of, like, the powers of the elements, and I cannot find anywhere these other herbs that I'm looking for here. I've got, what, like 2 more wander beards? Let me just look up on the other side. So the association seems to be much more a mythic connection. Whether it's through his own mythology, again, whether it's in fact he's thinking about, Manwe and Aule and Varda, or whether he's thinking about the elements. But it sounds like he's not yet. So JJ, perhaps... Okay, hang on. Here's more. Here we go. Right. Mythological, not proto-scientific. That's a better way of saying it, Marielle, for sure. Okay. In ancient days... This is from the Treason of Isengard now. In ancient days, the rings of power made long ago in the lands beyond the sea. It is said that they were first contrived by Fëanor, the greatest of all the makers among the elves. This I remember from our study of these books. That his ideas about like where the rings came from were shifting about. So he first ascribes them to Fëanor. His purpose was not evil, yet in it was the great enemy. But they were stolen by the great enemy and brought to Middle-earth. 3 rings he made. The rings of earth, sea, and sky. Right, so we can see that he's toying with the idea of making the link or the parallel between the 3 rings and the Silmarils much more explicit. Right? In fact, he's like coming this close to actually oh, did I get them all? Oh, good. He's coming very close to actually recycling the Silmarils, right, as the Rings of Power there. Okay. So if... woohoo, boy, how about that for discovering a cliff? Okay, what's going on? Oh, yeah, that's... Can't run that way. Okay. Right, and after this, he sticks with Galadriel having the Ring of Earth for some time. Yes, in fact... So I wonder if conceptually... he still has this sort of mythological... I'm going to have to go back. I'm not going to be able to avoid Osgiliath, huh? Well, it is what it is. If I've got to go back to Osgiliath, I've got to go back to Osgiliath. First, I'm going to go up here and see if I can find... So my blue here extends north of the Ramas. So I'm going to see if I can go to that camp and get me some quick and easy Sûhalar beards. Up here. Okay. I assume that quest ring was just for the dailies that I can do again. Okay, so theory then, based on what we're seeing here. This is fun. I've never really thought about this question before. That is, I've never really kind of chased this down. If then, so we come back to the reference to the Ring of Fire, the Círdan and Gandalf story, right? That when he devised the Círdan and Gandalf, so when he describes the rings, seems to be the seed of it, right? When he physically describes them as they're getting on the boat, not the rings, the people getting on the boat. All right, hang on, let me see. Yes, their beards count. Yeah. So that, I think then, the shift from the kind of mythological association between earth, sea, and sky, and the shift to thinking in terms of the elements, air, water, fire, that there we go. That's what I wanted. I hit the wrong button. Okay. that seems to happen in appendix time when he is finishing up, right? When he's doing this sort of extra world building. So, yeah. What that would suggest then is that Galadriel's it's also interesting. It's also interesting that the shift, right? How he had, because he could have kept Earth. I mean, he had Earth. Like, Earth is an element too. He could have just kept it, but he changed it to water. And I think that almost has to be because of the mirror, right? So I think it increasingly likely that Tolkien, like, as far as which came first in Tolkien's mind, the Mirror of Galadriel or the Ring of Water, it seems at least extremely likely that it was the Mirror of Galadriel that came first. Because inasmuch as he was associating the rings with element-like things, and it seems to me much more like mythological realms than, again, these sort of, as you say, Mariel, proto-scientific associations. Do I have enough beards? Oh, need one more. Oh, such as, like, thank you for volunteering. He changes his plan. Ah, okay. I can go up there to get some herbs. Yeah, I think it's the Mirror of Galadriel that changes his plan. So when we get to Lothlorien in the text, inasmuch as he is still associating Nenya with anything external, he's associating it with Earth, right? And remember how Galadriel refers to it. Oh, come on. Yeah. Take off, eh? Yeah, she refers to it as the Ring of Adamant, which might be a reference to the mithril of which it's made. But of course, it also is clearly a reflection of her own will, of her own attitude, right? She is... It suits her character. She is the one with the will to resist. You know, remember that gesture she makes, holding up her hands, you know, to defy Sauron and resist his, influence and attempt to overpower. But in any case, I think that he... Man. Oh, is that it? Yes. There we go. Settlegang. I just don't want to get it too close to that mounted dude. Okay. There we go. Yeah. Remember what Galadriel says when she shows the mirror to Frodo and Sam. This, if you like, is the magic of Galadriel. She's still commenting on Sam's use of the word magic. But that is the magic of Galadriel. not of her ring, exactly. Yes, you're right. Of course, adamant is being associated with the. I was forgetting about the diamond. Yes, that makes sense. But again, just as mithril is the strongest, just as mithril is the strongest metal, so diamond is the hardest gem, right? And that's what Galadriel is being associated with all the way through. That the strength, the hardness, right? And that's what she calls it, the Ring of Adamant. And remember that she was being associated from the beginning with Earth, right? Of all of these different realms, she was the one who was being associated with Earth. Okay, I think it's off to Osgiliath with me now. Oh man, I can't mithril coin to the Tunglewort. That's too bad. Yes, Marielle, exactly. That's precisely the thing that I'm seeing there. Marielle's recalling how Aule made the dwarves out of the bones of the earth, made them hardy to endure. Exactly. That's precisely what we see, what we see Galadriel associating with herself in the whole. Coming back to the road here, and then that's the association that we get. The mirror of Galadriel is her own magic, as she says. Now, again, later Tolkien's going to change his mind, and when he decides, as it seems he does decide to change the association, right? To shift from the realm of earth, the realm of sea, and the realm of sky to the four elements of which the physical world is made: earth, air, fire, and water. He shifts her to water. And that seems to be an association with the mirror. It's hard to see how that's not connected there. In other words, I do think that part of his retconning there, a big part of his retconning, is that he does want to say, in retrospect, he seems to sort of change his mind and say, no, the Mirror of Galadriel, that's connected with water. With the sort of water magic of the ring. Okay. Should I go all the way down? Getting pretty close here. Yeah, all I've got are these last 2 sets of herbs, and one of them I can get down in Losarnach. But I have to go to Osgiliath anyway, right? Like, there's no actually avoiding Osgiliath. I shouldn't get my hopes up. I should just go to Osgiliath. Alright, I'll just go to Osgiliath. Anyway, it is... Anyway, I hope you can begin to see why I'm answering this question this way. I'm answering the question this way because, of course, one can ignore all of this and just say, look, fact, Galadriel's ring is the ring of water. This is known, right? Whatever other ideas he might have had previously or whatever, we know that Galadriel's ring is the ring of water. And so, therefore, let's just answer the question straight up. And yeah, sure, obviously it seems that it seems obvious that it's associated with, that like the Mirror of Galadriel must be connected with that in some way, because Ring of Water, am I right? And of course, you can do that. You can just sort of take that and have it all make sense. But I find it much more fun to think through when we see it happening this way. Tolkien, it helps us to understand, I find, anyway, that it helps us to understand what the focus is, like how we can figure these things out. Because Tolkien discovers things. It's what he does, right? I mean, he talks about this all the time. And it's awesome to watch. Like, it's just great fun to see Tolkien doing discovery. And I think it helps us a good deal to understand Tolkien's like what he's getting at when we catch him in the act of discovery, right? We can learn more about what was important to Tolkien. Just like a random lootable corpse here. Don't mind if I do. What was important to Tolkien? You know, sometimes that's very difficult to figure out, right? So I've been coming back to, you know, the whole question of the rings, right? How do we know, like, what Tolkien meant, essentially, by the question of, like, you know, when he calls it the Ring of Water, how do we know what that means? What's important to him about the Rings of Power? How was he envisioning? How was he picturing the activity of the, you know, the power and abilities and activities of the three rings? I actually don't want to go to the bridge. I want to cut north here. And some of the indirect evidence that we get for this is in looking what was it in the story that led him to discover that the Rings of Power were associated with the three elements. So if we can trace that, if we can follow that, then that helps us. Oh, they're probably down there, eh? Okay, somewhere around here. I would think they'd be growing somewhere where there was, you know, dirt. But that's just me. Growing in these central islands? The central heaps of slag? Huh. Weird. We just passed like a treasure catch, I think it was. Yeah, I'm like, I'm hitting delete looking for something. Okay, there's a... Oh, no, I thought that was an herb, but it's just a worm. Is it up on the bridge? Do I have to go up? It says I'm in the zone, but... Rocky areas on the makeshift bridges. Well, yeah, well, that's where I was just looking. I guess I can go down this other makeshift bridge. But I am just not seeing any. Ah ha ha! There we go. Anyway, so do you see what I'm saying? Like, if when we follow Tolkien's own path of discovery, it gives us some really interesting clues to help us. It helps us to make sure that we're contextualizing the information in, like, a sensible way. Because it's really easy to not be sensible about this sort of thing. Okay, so what do we have then again? I think then that the evidence suggests that the turning point in his concept of the Rings of Power is Gandalf, is when he writes the story of Círdan, the seed of which would appear to be, that was it, just those two, and then I have to go to the other. Oh man, I gotta do the whole tour of Osgiliath in order to get my Tanglewort. Okay, so it's Gandalf. It's the story with Círdan, because fire was never a part of it. Fire is the thing that makes the difference, that makes the shift. Yeah, it's fire that makes the difference between those mythological realms of earth, sea, and sky, and the fire, calling it the Ring of Fire. And it seems to be suggested, I mean, in as much as we can even take a guess at where, here we are. In as much as we can even take a guess at where the concept came from, it seems to have come from that, just when he described the ring and decided that it had a red gem, and he described it as red as fire. That seems to be the moment when he almost got it before being interrupted. That seems to be like the tipping point, because then he goes and he tells the fuller story of Círdan and the Ring of Fire, and it seems to be after that fact then when he comes back around to describing the rings, he's now describing them as water, fire, and air, which suggests this then. And I'm out of here. Yes, I am. The maiden's hair is going to be the one that's down in. Boop. Okay. So this suggests that it works like this then. Earth, sky, sea. Right? Galadriel's earth. Galadriel's adamant. Right? So when we're associating the three rings, and therefore the three wielders of the rings, with realms, Galadriel's associated with earth. But once he makes the shift and says, no, actually, elements, not realms, elements, that's when he's like, oh, well, water then, obviously. Right? He didn't associate her with the sea, the realm of the sea. But when it comes to picking an element for her, he's like, wow, water, no-brainer, mirror, right? QED. That seems to be more or less the process, right? So it was Gandalf and the idea of the Ring of Fire. So what this means, therefore, or what this suggests, is that in Tolkien's mind, it was the association of Gandalf with the Ring of Fire that it was association Gandalf with the Ring of Fire that was that was the turning point in his conception of the three elvish rings. And he was always, by the way, pretty vague about what the elvish rings did. the passage with Círdan, where Círdan is talking about him, you know, kindling a fire in the hearts of men is you know, that's definitely one of the most specific things. We never learn anything so specific about Nenya or Vilya. Oof. Okay, there we go. A little rubber banding action. Okay, yeah, I'll go through the hole in the wall, get to the Harland. Well, I think we're gonna finish all of our landscape stuff. Should be able to turn the beards into Forlong and okay. Probably out in the trees on this side, I'm hoping. Oh yeah. Out here in the woods next to the Harlong. Oh yeah, there it is. Maiden's Helm, that's interesting. Oh, nice, there's not even anything to fight out here. Excellent. Boy, I hope this healer's thankful. Yeah, so anyway, it looks like I might get a chance to turn all these in. And then next time, all epic all the time. Okay. Done. Done with the lot. So we're going to go to... whoa. No, I don't want Minas Tirith at Midsummer. Why am I show... What? That's weird. Okay. I'm just going to go back to the gate. Oh, I can't quite go back to the gate yet. How long do I have? 51 seconds. Okay. Anyway, that was a fun exploration. Thank you guys for your help there. Do you follow my reasoning? Do you see what I mean about how looking at when this came into Tolkien's story, it doesn't necessarily change anything. So again, this is a classic illustration of this is when people are asking about, like, so, you know, at this moment in the story, was Gandalf using the Ring of Fire at that moment? Or even, like, does Gandalf use the Ring of Fire to make fireworks in the Shire, right? And on the one hand, depending on how you answer that, right, you would say one temptation is to say, well, like, actually, that's not possible because Gandalf didn't even have, like, the idea that Tolkien's idea that A, Gandalf had a ring, and B, that ring was the Ring of Fire. Those were all later ideas, right? And as we're seeing, the idea of giving Gandalf one of the rings comes first. The idea of its being the Ring of Fire comes second. And that very concept seems to have shifted his entire concept of the three rings. So, there we go. This is the proper map. I got to pick up a chicken last. Let's go to Forlong first. Yeah. Anyway, so it's easy to say, like, well, no. So, like, the answer is no. No, Gandalf was not using the ring because he didn't have it yet. But that's not a good answer. That's not necessarily correct because that's ignoring Tolkien's retcon, right? So, do I think that Gandalf's using the Ring of Fire when he makes the Hobbit fireworks, right, for Bilbo's party? Yeah, I totally do. Think that he is. I think that's one of the reasons why Tolkien was associating him with fire in the first place. I mean, you could say that the fireworks at Bilbo's party are part of the thing that inspired Tolkien to be like, oh no, wait, Gandalf, Ring of Fire, naturally, right? I mean, like, so just because he hadn't invented it yet doesn't prove that it's not true, right? But you see how thinking it through this way helps us to understand these things better, actually. So, is Nenya, the Ring of Water, involved in the Mirror of Galadriel? Yeah. Retroactively? For sure. That and flaming pine cones? Absolutely. Why not? Why not? Absolutely. Now that we've traced this back, this has been bugging me for a while. I've been wanting to do this, to go back and try to figure this, and I appreciate your help as I've been working through this today. I've been wanting to track this down because I had the suspicion that the association with the elements was late. Yeah, cool, fascinating. I learned something today. All right, Forlong.
Wine.
I have the beards.
And friends. Tomorrow, come what may.
Oof. Everybody has an opinion about the beards. What do you think, Nil dear?
Minas Tirith will surely be able to withstand.
Those seem like the beards of mortal men to me, only braided in a foreign fashion.
Well, well.
Well, at least there are a handful fewer enemies to fight. This is well done, burglar, no matter who is right. How do you know I didn't just have them shaved?
What say you, my friend?
Just as I said, they are like unto dwarf beards. Oh, that's right, you're trying to prove that the Easterlings are actually part dwarf?
Wine.
Why can't you old fools not see that I am plainly right?
Come what may.
Were those horns? Do the horns sound?
Do you see, Forlong, we have fallen to quarreling again. If Mithrandir were here, I think he would say that it was the nearness of the enemy, for discord and strife springs up wherever that shadow falls. Now let us take your own advice, friend, and make peace by raising a glass among well-loved friends. Oh, more Baron's blood. Come what may. To you, my friends. Oops, hang on.
What say you, my friends?
That was well spoken, Hirluin, and I hold that we must ever keep love's warmth kindled in our hearts if we are to prevail against that which shall not be named.
You made it here safe.
Not named, but too soon joined in battle, I fear.
Come, my friends, come, come.
For this moment I shall not dwell on that, Nildir. I am here with you, old friends and new, in a city I have loved dearly since my youth. And how could I not love it, when it was here that I found Vanyalos, my heart's desire. It was here I wooed her first, and then afterwards in the flowering fields of Lasarnach, my home.
Our walls will protect us.
How people talked! Tyrenis spurned, and her sister Vanyalos wooed in her stead. To this day I am amazed that you dared defy Lord Denethor, and which of his sisters you would wed.
What say you, my friends?
Oh, it was not Denethor I trembled before, but Tyrenis. Her wrath lingers to this day. You should have seen it while the iron was hot.
Greetings, friend.
You did put Denethor in a difficult position, old friend. He could not take sides between the sisters whom he loved. That he bore it silently and did not set his heart against you speaks much of him, I think.
Tonight, wine, food, and friends. Tomorrow, come what may.
So if they're going to make us click on these guys to follow this whole conversation, which is fine, I really wish they would, disengage the prompts. That's really vexing. You broke some few hearts in your time yourself, Hirluin the Fair. How is it none of those smitten maidens ever softened your resolve and lured you into marriage?
Well, well.
It was not the path for me. I have chosen another way through life and hold no regrets.
Come, my
Still,
friends, come.
you must wonder sometimes what might have been. That maid old Althlin, yes, made so much of, who climbed the city walls to you, or didn't, as you maintain, did you never wonder what became of her? Nay, answer not. You would not confess it if you did. She was a magistrate's daughter, I think. Yes, Laranis she was called. Let our new friend ask among the magistrates and councillors up in the 6th circle for us, and learn what became of her. Then we will see if we can win a blush from that pale, fair face of yours. Okay. Ask after Laranis in the 6th circle.
What say you, my friends?
Among the magistrates, huh?
Were those horns?
Nothing will come of this. It is a waste of breath. Ah, as has been so much of the Forlong quest line. Okay. Well. Okay, so from here, we're headed up to the 6th circle. But that's okay. We needed to go to the House of Healing anyway. So up in that direction, I think we can... I'm going to go right past the chicken area. I'm not taking a chicken yet because I can't really do anything else while I'm holding the chicken. So my horse and I are going to skate across. There we go. Skate across the 3rd circle. Or are we on the 4th? We're on the 3rd. Yeah, Craftsman's Tier. That's what I thought. Okay, where's the chicken court? Here it is. And then from here we head up. Yeah. Oh, wait a second. Okay, tell you what, better idea. Let's go to the other side here and turn in our scrap metal. I almost forgot about that. We have to go back over to the forge. Okay. All right. Here's the Smith's Market. Forges are somewhere in here. Yeah, up here on the left, right? Is this them? No. It's hang on. Over here? Oh, that guy. By the Fellow Hall, right? I thought we were going
Every
into the
minute
forge.
feels like hours.
I'm amazed
We
you
can
made it
only
back
prepare
unscathed.
so
Now you
much.
should bring the scrap metal to our forges. Okay, that's where I assumed we were going to end up. Okay, so that is right up here on the left. That's where I was just about to go. Yes, this is what I remember. No, those doors apparently. There we go. Okay. Do I have to stand on the right paving stone to... No, I just put them in the bucket. Just drop them in the forge. Okay. Sure. Okay, we are feeding the Forges of Minas Tirith with the scrap metal of war. Okay. Oh, no, not that one. One on the other side, presumably. Okay, Gryfflet's gonna finish his errands. I think it's gonna happen. But are we gonna get to the end of the Forlong quest line? Does the Forlong quest line have an ending? These are the uncertain questions. Okay. Speak with Galathir? Is that here? No. Back to Aglarong again. Oh, right, no. Galathir is the poet. Yeah. Okay. No, not seeking any spoilers. I'm telling you, I love the Forlong quest line. First of all, like, story-based quests are always more fun than combat-based quests. And secondly, the opportunity to get to know Hirluin the Fair and Forlong the Fat. Come on, priceless. Especially since we're running out of time to get to know them, I mean. Hey, no problem. We'll be able to make some barricades for the wall. Oh, good. Useful barricades. That's what I'm all about.
Our city fall.
Okay. Excellent. So now I can go up to the players tier, which I can stable master from here. I don't have to run all the way back across. Where's the stable master? Oh, there she is.
How may I help you, friend?
Up to the players tier, please. Swiftly, if possible. I need to turn in my word hoard here pretty soon. There we go. All right, poet dude. I've got your raw materials here.
When the time comes to fight,
Durbethir takes the items you have brought him and listens with a grave expression to the impressions you gathered. Perhaps I ask too much of you, but yet it is no more than we ask of every soldier here, except for you, apparently. Nevertheless, you have brought me ample inspiration. Let me ponder a moment. Dark the day and bright the fire's in the trenches' veins. Veins go cold and life expires, expiring joy and dread and pain. Dark the day and blood shall flow, dark the day and still we go. Okay, so you're rhyming. All right. Okay. Blood shall flow and fear shall clamor, clamor like the soldiers' cries, cries of fury, hope, and valor, valor chants and death defies. Dark the day and still we go, dark the day and blood shall flow. There, it is done. I wrought a song of war. Perhaps we will take these words to our graves. If that is so, take my thanks as well. Okay. I like the structure of this. So you see we've got an AB, ABCC rhyme scheme here, but of course there's a heavy and appropriate emphasis on alliteration. But what's more, you can see that they, that is the poet, is also taking some inspiration from from errantry. Notice how the repetition, right? How fire at the end of line 1 is connected to fires, and then veins is repeated to veins, expires, expiring, then ending with pain, right? So you've got the linking of the end of the one line to the beginning of the next line. It's not the same exact structure as an errantry, but it's a similar kind of technique, and he's doing the same thing. Second stanza, clamor, cries, and valor. And then, of course, the two ending words that have and then of course the final couplet is the same except reversed, right? blood shall flow, dark the day, and still we go. So by starting with, you've got the 4 times repetition of dark the day, well, 5 times, because we start with that as well, right? So the beginning of the first line connects back to the last lines there as well. Anyway, but we start with the blood shall flow and still we go, talking about battle first and then the persistence in battle, right? But then it gets reversed, still we go and blood shall flow, right? So the final emphasis is on the shedding of blood. And notice the one single word which does not have a pairing in each one. So like fire, fires, veins, veins, expires, expiring, and then pain, right? And the parallel word in the second stanza is defies. Pain defies are those 2 sort of loose end words, right, at the end of the chain. And that too seems to be part of the overall theme, right? That it, the defiance of pain, that kind of works, like the blood shall flow and still we go concept. Nice. So yeah, structurally, big fan of what's going on here. Let's see. This was an unfortunate thing to happen across with like 2 minutes left in my stream. I think I'll have to be content with that very quick analysis there. Yeah, there's more I could say, but then I'll be super late. But I do like the structure. The structure is very cool. Okay, I think... no, wait, I can go up to the Master's tier. But you know what I'm not going to have time to do? Even if I do get to the Master's tier, I'm not going to have time to listen to Forlong talk. So I have to say, I'm kind of impressed that he actually produced a pretty good poem out of those raw materials. Okay. Oh, it's the Houses of Healing. Here. Okay, over there is where I need to ask folks. Okay. Tell you what, I should stop because I'm out of time and I'm not going to get to turn all these in anyway. I got to turn in this. I got to ask after Loranes and go back to Forlong. And then I gotta carry the chicken. So, yeah, we're narrowing it down. We're coming to the end. We finished the outdoor quests. We finished the Pelennor quests. And now it's just a matter of turning those in, and then we'll get back to Gandalf. So we'll round this up. Next time, hey, who knows? Maybe we'll finish the Forlong quest line. It could happen. And then we will go back to Gandalf and do the epic quest line and start getting ready for the battle, right? Kind of exciting. Gryfflet doing Battle of Pelennor Field. I think it's coming. It's coming soon. All right. Awesome. Thank you, everybody, for joining me today. Good to be back with you guys here on our normal channel this week. And Druid's Fire will be next. I should be around next week. Mythmoot is coming up soon, so I'll be gone the week after next, but I should be here next week, so far as I know. So thanks, everybody, for joining me, and I will see you guys next week. Bye now. Thanks for joining in on my rambles around Standing Stone's brilliant digital adaptation of Tolkien's world. If you enjoy these adventures, please consider supporting this and other entertaining educational programming by donating at signumuniversity.org/fund.